The room is quiet, save for the faint, monotonous hum of the refrigerator and the distant, muffled sound of traffic bleeding through the glass. It is past midnight, that peculiar hour where the world pretends to sleep, but your mind refuses to switch off. You are sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at a screen that has long since gone dark, reflecting an image of exhaustion you refuse to acknowledge. Your phone rests face down on the nightstand, yet your hand twitches every few minutes, half expecting a notification, half praying for absolute silence. This is the quiet warfare of the person who carries too much. To the rest of the world, you are the fortress. You are the steady hand when everyone else is trembling, the reliable shoulder that absorbs the damp weight of other people's tears, the architect of emotional safety nets for everyone except yourself. They call you strong. They call you resilient. They lean on you with a casual, habitual weight, assuming your foundation is made of concrete and unyielding steel. But no one asks what it costs you to stay upright. No one notices the subtle tremor in your voice when you say you are fine, or the way you hold your breath whenever someone's mood shifts ever so slightly in the room. You have become an expert reader of micro-expressions, scanning every face for the slightest hint of disappointment, rejection, or withdrawal. You monitor the emotional weather of everyone around you as if your survival depends on it, because somewhere, deep in the archived files of your past, you learned a terrifying rule: if you are not useful, you are disposable. If you are not fixing things, you are failing. If you are quiet, you will be left behind. This is the heavy, suffocating architecture of the fear of abandonment. It does not look like dramatic pleading or desperate tears, it looks like excessive competence. It looks like swallowing your own grievances because someone else's storm feels bigger, louder, and more deserving of space. You listen to your friend vent for 3 hours about a relationship that is slowly suffocating them, nodding, offering precise advice, holding space, while inside, your own chest is caving in under the accumulation of unexpressed grief from your own week. You take it all in. You absorb their anger, their confusion, their sorrow, filtering it through your own nervous system until their heavy clouds settle permanently inside your lungs. You think that by holding their pain, you are earning a permanent place in their life. You believe, with a quiet, heartbreaking desperation, that if you carry enough of their burdens, they will never find a reason to walk away from you. You become a sponge for other people's turbulence, completely convinced that your own needs are a burden too heavy to inflict on anyone else. So you edit yourself down. You edit away your exhaustion, your bad days, your boundaries, your right to break down. You wear your exhaustion like a second skin, whispering to yourself that it is just part of being a good person, a loyal friend, a devoted partner. But deep down, beneath the layers of rationalization, you know the truth. You are not just helping, you are hoarding responsibility. You are desperately trying to control an unpredictable world by making yourself indispensable. If they need you, they cannot leave you. That is the silent bargain you struck with yourself years ago, signed in the ink of self-neglect. But the math of emotional hoarding never works out in your favor. The more you carry for others, the less capacity you have to carry yourself. You wake up feeling like a stranger in your own skin, looking in the mirror and wondering who you actually are when you are not putting out someone else's fire. The overthinking starts in the quiet gaps of the day. You replay a conversation from 3 hours ago, analyzing a casual text message, wondering if your punctuation sounded too cold, if you offended someone by declining an invitation, if you were too much or not enough. You spend hours managing perceptions that do not belong to you, bleeding your energy into the phantom spaces of other people's potential judgments. It is a grueling, invisible exhaustion, the kind that sleep cannot touch because your soul is the one that is bone-tired. You are haunted by the ghost of a rejection that hasn't even happened yet, constantly bracing yourself for the inevitable moment when someone looks closely at you, sees the real, messy, tired human being underneath the savior complex, and decides to walk away anyway. And that is your deepest, most heavily guarded terror, that if you stop performing, if you stop fixing, if you put down the 1,000 invisible bags you have been hauling for everyone else, there will be nothing left of you to love. You have tied your entire worth to your utility. You believe you are only as valuable as the pain you can absorb and the problems you can solve. So you keep smiling through the numbness. You keep answering the late-night texts. You keep showing up for everyone else while quietly, systematically abandoning yourself in the dark. The tragedy is not that people take advantage of your willingness to help. The tragedy is that you have convinced yourself that your boundaries are a threat to your relationships. You think that saying no means inviting abandonment, that stepping back means stepping out of their lives forever. So you stay trapped in this loop of compulsive caretaking, bleeding for audiences who only applaud your performance, never seeing the actor bleeding behind the curtain. The night deepens, and the silence in the room grows heavier, pressing against your ears. The realization creeps in, cold and uninvited, that you cannot save anyone else until you are willing to look at the wreckage you have left behind inside your own chest. The people you are trying so desperately to hold on to are not bound to you by love, they are bound to your function. And until you have the courage to let the wrong things fall, to let people be disappointed, to let the silence sit without rushing in to fill it with frantic helpfulness, you will remain a prisoner in a fortress you built with your own hands, carrying a mountain of sorrows that were never yours to bear in the first place. You held on to everyone else so tightly that your own hands had nothing left to hold yourself.